welcome to Miss Martin Muses and another night of pub crawl. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We are on night 4, only 1 hour in of drinking, so we're all relatively sober, quote unquote, if we were really drinking. And none other than ZAXX himself is with us tonight.
Hey, Teresa, great to see you.
Great to see you too. Yeah, we had to do a bit of a rain check back when the the plague hit the planet. Or I remember there was a little
Yep.
bit last time we were all a little bit sick, and then now it all worked out, and now we're having a big freeze down here in Texas.
Well, I think that you guys have a lot more trouble with the freezes than we do up here. We're used to it, but I've heard the horror stories and the loss of power and with your windmills, is it? You guys use windmills down there?
Yeah, something like that, which are they're great when the weather doesn't go bad, and it's like Texas weather is it's like they couldn't figure it out what to do. But, I've been lucky every time this has happened, even including the big freeze in 2021. I have not lost my power, and the worst case scenario is you just kinda hunker down with the animals and a good book.
You know what? That can sometimes be the best thing too, really. Just to
Mhm.
force you to sit and relax and maybe meditate on where you are in life and find some good fiction.
Darn right, yes, and I've been doing a lot of that lately. Well, and before we get into where we're gonna be meeting and everything, oh, look at Zach's saying hello to the chat. We
Yeah.
have, the J sorry, the IJP Mexican, IJP Mexican, I see. Canadian Dad, hello. Cajun Corey, another Corey, Corey Cochran. We have Dadman 55, Psychotic Mongoose, hello. And everyone's saying hello to everybody. Cannoli Sasquatch. And let's see. Oh, Psychotic. It was 70 degrees here today. We hate you. We hate you very much. But that's
Arizona.
okay. Yeah, I'm
Arizona
glad.
Sasquatches.
Oh, gosh. Oh, well, there you are. Well, you're not too far off of my latitude. I think that we just got hit with that really wild front, but always good to see everyone here and everyone who will be watching on the replay. Well, here at Miss Martin Muses on Pub Crawl, the guest gets to choose where we are meeting, which pub we are crawling to
Mm.
today, and it is none other than the one at Deadwood.
Yeah, the saloon, they call it, I think, Saloon 10 in Deadwood, South Dakota. Um, it's a place I've been, and I'm a big fan of the television series, but I was here before I ever saw, long before that show even ever existed. So, um, this is a cool spot. It's got a lot of history to it. And so I thought, why not go there for a pint of sarsaparilla or whatever it is we drink in the Wild West, or whiskey, I guess.
Yeah, and they would have it straight. Well, I'll tell you what,
Absolutely.
all of the outlaws that were there, and we always like to not glamorize them perhaps, but sometimes just like pirates, we don't realize they probably weren't good people to know.
No,
Uh,
and I would bet like around this time in that place, there wasn't a lot of good people who lasted
no,
very long either. So you have like grades of shades of gray and like different gradients of evil probably there. Seth Bullock was there. He was the sheriff. He was seems like a relatively above the board kind of a guy. Um, but this is the place where Wild Bill Hickok was murdered
mhm.
at this saloon and with his the dead man's hand, aces and eights, and he was playing poker. Someone had his normal chair, and so he took the other chair that was towards the entrance of the saloon. And this guy Jack McCall, who he took a bunch of money of the day before, walked up behind him and put one in the back of his head. So the famous gunfighter, and they put him on trial the next day, Jack McCall, and they let him go, and then they brought him back and convicted him later. But if you go to Deadwood, at least when I went there when I was much younger, they do like full day reenactments of all those events. So everyone there is like part of the show, and it's all set up to act like the real town did, and it's a lot of fun. There's gunfights in the streets, and you can see all of it. Even the court stuff is there, and the hanging as well. So, spoiler alert, hanging. Uh, so it's a really cool place to visit, Deadwood. I recommend you check it out. Lots of history, and yeah, you can even pan for gold yourself.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea they did all that. That sounds so incredibly cool.
Hmm.
I wanna
Yeah,
see a how do they reenact the hanging? How do they do
um,
that?
well, they walk him out to the gallows, and then I don't remember if they actually dropped him. They must not have dropped him, or he would have been dead. But they do the whole thing where he does his last words, which I think he didn't get to finish them. I think they dropped him in real life before he finished his last words. Uh, but it was I was really young, so I don't remember how that part ended. But I when you get there, you don't. I didn't know this was a thing that was happening. So you see all these people in these Wild West outfits, and then you start hearing gunfire because the show's starting. And it was so once I figured out what was happening, they did two versions of the show every day. So I caught the second time from the beginning, and yeah, it's like a theme park for the Wild West.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah,
I am so going there, and that is a fantastic segue into what your chosen topic is, which is travel.
yeah. I know you have traveled quite a bit, and I've been lucky to go to some fun places, and uh, yeah, I think that travel is important. And for me, I have a love hate relationship with travel because, um, well, I think everyone on some level hates traveling, or at least I don't like the actual act of travel. I'm sure no one really does, but I'm not a big fan of airplanes. Um, and like it's not a place I either sit by the window and then have to sit like this most of the time, or I sit on the aisle, which is better. But then every single person who walks past me hits my arm, like no matter what. It doesn't fail, so I can't sleep on them. We got lots of layovers in Canada if you're flying out of here, and so you're stuck in the airport for 9 hours. And
Mhm,
but actually seeing these places and experiencing them in person is something that I recommend everyone do as much as you can. And like for my family, my wife and I, we have I've talked about this before. I have a son who has autism, and so we really like prioritize where we put money, and we want to make sure he has the best possible services and support. So we
mhm,
put everything into that. You kind of feel guilty otherwise, or at least I do, spending money on things you don't really need at home when it could be going towards him or into his like education savings. And so, but travel is the one thing that's different because like you can't really do that later,
mhm.
or it's a different experience later. And so, you run out of years at some point, and so we prioritize that. So we go. We've been to some great places, and yeah, it's we're going to the Azores in the summer this year, so that's gonna be cool. Our family's from
Oh, cool.
there. Yeah.
Something you said about not liking to be on airplanes, snob alert,
Oh.
when I travel, this is the way I like to travel on airplanes. I always go first class, and people always call me a big
Oh
snob.
no,
So
no.
so if you can, this will solve a lot of your problems. This was an international flight. Obviously, you won't get this on a domestic flight, but on domestic flights, yes, you have plenty of room. No one bumps your elbow. There's like space between you and the person next to you. But this
That
is
looks
a
awesome.
trip. This is a trip to Ireland that I took a few years ago, and it turns into a bed, and they have a blanket for you, and the stuff all glows. So I always tell people, if you can, do your best to get a first class or some sort of an upgrade. And in many places, you can, if you are traveling internationally, if they do have an open seat, sometimes they will charge you for an upgrade, but at like half the price. For example, this ticket cost me about $4,000, but
Wow.
if I had bought a if I had bought a coach ticket and then got lucky and got an upgrade, they would have charged me maybe 800 extra dollars. So you're talking about $1,500 for something that might have cost $4,000. But it's worth it. It really is, especially if you got the points. It's a lot easier when you're single, like me, because I usually travel by myself, or if I'm traveling with friends or relatives, it's every man for himself. They can go back and coach just like Home Alone. But so this is one way to get around the flying issue that you were
Yeah.
just talking about.
I've been able to do that. My ex worked for an airline, and so we would fly standby, but we were high priority standby. And so if there were empty seats in first class, we would get them for the same price that we'd pay for anywhere else on the plane. But the trick is you have to dress up. So you're flying standby, so you don't know where you're going to sit when you get there. And but you have to wear like a suit. And if you're wearing a suit and you look like at least somewhat together, they'll probably bump you up if it's an airline ticket from the company from Air Canada. And so we managed to do that to go to Australia. That worked out
Oh,
great because that flight would have been killer otherwise, right? Um,
yes.
like 13 hours, I think. We went to Hawaii and then to we flew into Sydney. Um, and that was an awesome trip. But yes, it's um, I did do first class. Now it wasn't like this because this was a long time ago. So
Mhm.
it was, but still, it was. I could sleep on the plane. It was comfortable, and they spoil you with the food and all that. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, this is
Oh,
way better than anything I've been experienced on a plane.
yeah, this is what it would be like if you went today, and for those really huge ones, like going over to Australia, this would be business class where I am here, and then first class is even one up above. It's like little hotel rooms. It's ridiculous. You're talking a lot of money. I think that if a business class ticket, like this would go to Australia would be very, very expensive. So I'm not so sure. I would need to be saving up for quite a while because I do not want to travel to Australia, coach. I just
Mhm.
couldn't. I just can't handle it, and I
You,
want to be
you
able to
you
sleep.
got
And
lucky.
the yeah, the benefit of doing this, I've done this going to Paris and to Dublin, London, other places, Iceland. You show up more rested than you would be otherwise because it's very difficult to sleep upright, but you can actually get some decent sleep on the airplane, and that'll make it good on the other end.
Well, yeah, then you get way more value for your trip because you're not losing an entire day trying to catch up on your sleep, and
Mhm,
you're not dead when you get home either.
mhm.
So yeah, it's an expense, but I do see why people do that. But like for us for the Australia stuff, I think it was $90 to go um to
Mm.
Australia. So it was because of the airline. It's you get a certain number of trips a year, and you only pay like a small portion of the fees. You don't pay for the actual like seat, and
Mhm.
so it's like $90 to go to Honolulu and then to Sydney. It
Oh,
was pretty
well,
cool,
cool.
but that my ex, although like she could travel for cheap, she also hated traveling. So it was kind of the worst sort of. It's like being teased. Like you can go anywhere for really cheap anytime you want, but she doesn't want to go.
Oh, dear.
Yeah,
Well, that's no fun because, of course,
no.
obviously, both of us love to travel. In Australia, that's one of the trips that you made. What would you say is the your favorite trip that you have taken?
Um, hmm, I would have to say, Squeaka. Hey, my trip to Portugal and Spain. That was last not October 2022, and that was kind of a pretty amazing trip, and got to see a lot of places, a lot of history. I got to see my first set of Roman ruins, which is something I'm really into, and we went to Coimbra in Portugal, which was the old capital of that region when the Romans were in charge. Um, and so, and this is a city that is, it's called Cunumbriga. It's what the old city was called. And it's all still being unearthed now. And they're actively, archaeologists working on the site. And so much of it is so well preserved because um, one of the first governors there was an asshole. And he moved in after everyone was settled. And he decided that he wanted to have the biggest villa, and he also wanted to put up better walls. And so what he did was they actually the other people who were wealthy, he took their villas, combined it into one, and then the other villas outside of town or close to the outskirts of town, he buried and put a wall over top of them. And so because of that, they were buried, and so all the tiling and everything is still basically brand new when they're digging it up. It's kind of unbelievable to see. And there's even a swastika house because they used to use that symbol back then. So,
Yeah.
and not for the Nazis either.
Oh my gosh, that is so amazing. I've never been to Portugal. What was it like drinking port from
Oh,
port?
we in Porto, we actually went to and had like a port, um, call it like a distillery maybe.
Mhm.
Um, we had a tour there, and we got to try some super expensive port, and it's strong, but it's really good. It will do the job for sure. And the culture there is so different with the drinking. Like everyone kind of drinks,
Mhm.
and in public too. It's not like it is over here. And everything is so outdoor. Like there's so many outdoor spaces, so much outdoor eating that it's not uncommon to see people drinking a bottle of wine, sitting on the curb. And there's very little street traffic, like with cars. It's a lot of foot traffic because the cities there are built on hills. Everything's up and down these hills. Everything's really old. And in Lisbon, and they still have like it's still the tiles. The roads are still tiles. So you actually see the guys working on it, and they repair the streets one tile at a time. So they're not as Portuguese aren't all lazy.
Oh, yeah, sorry, it just went out there a little bit. We're having some internet issues tonight, but, hopefully the little monsters will stay away from us. Yeah, well, and that's what I like about a lot of those places because it is nice to be able to walk around and not have to always drive your car everywhere.
And like in there, you have no option. There's a few people who we saw trying to drive,
Mhm,
but there's barely room for one car on those roads.
mhm.
And there's no like I don't know how the right of way would work, but and people are walking on the roads too. But it was one of my favorite places was just we loved Portugal way more than I thought that I would. People there were kind of outstanding, and I would recommend there. And everything was so cheap.
Mhm.
When you travel, you're so used to paying like a premium, and there you can get some amazing meals for way less than you would pay for it here. And the service is always really friendly, and they do like every country kind of has their trick to get you to pay a bit extra, and there the trick is they'll offer you things like olives, like, but you
Ooh.
think it's like you go to a restaurant here, and if they give you something before the meal, it's typically free, like if it's warm bread or whatever. But there, it's all charged, so they come by, offer you all these things. Like, yeah, sure, I'll have that. Why not? I'll give it a try, and everything is on their bill at the end of the night. Um,
Oh
that's
gosh.
that's kind of the trick there. But it's so good. The food there is so good, and there's a sandwich that you can only really get in Porto, and it's called the Francesinha sandwich, and it's unbelievable. If I can find something, a picture of that for you. But
Oh, I was gonna
um,
say, yeah, that sounds so good, and when you said about the olives, I'm not much of an olive eater, but I would eat them. I'd eat them all up if I was there. It's like,
oh,
The Godfather 2, whenever I watch that movie, I'm like, "I want olives," even though I don't even know if I like them.
and oh, here it is. Okay, this is gonna be perfect. All right.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I'd love to make it over there to Portugal. It just
yeah.
never happened.
Well, my wife is Portuguese, so like that's kind of where that came from. I want to go to Spain. That was a big thing for me,
Mhm,
but it turns out I like Portugal better.
mhm.
There's the sandwich.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah. So, so it has two kinds of steak, and it usually has two or three kinds of sausage on it too. And it has like just covered. It's a white bread that they put cheese over top of the bread, and an egg, and the egg and the cheese seal the bread. Then they put this spicy gravy over top of all of it, and the bread stays dry because of the cheese.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's amazing. And
That
we've made them here, and it's hard to make because you can't get hard to find the gravy they use here. But yeah,
mhm. That looks so good. And everyone's like, "I'm so hungry." Yes, everyone's
yeah,
the every yeah, everybody Google it, find out where we can get these and make
it
it. Oh, gee.
yeah, they're pretty fantastic. And so when we were in Porto, that's kind of I ate that for lunch and dinner. Um, because we were told, like everyone says, if you're in Porto, you have to try these sandwiches, and so we did. And like they're every different restaurant we went to had a different spin on them a little bit, but they're all basically the same, and they're amazing. Um,
Yeah.
and the whole thing it was so inexpensive too. They almost always come with fries, and that's the the fries and the gravy works too. So I don't know. My favorite food on that trip, hands down.
Oh, gee, well, that sounds amazing, and also going to the Puerto, factory or
Hmm.
oh, geez, that sounds so good. Yeah, I've been to Spain once as a child. It was one of our summer vacations. We went to Barcelona and then a local beach resort, but I would like to go again as an adult where I might be able to appreciate some of the history a little better and some of the things, of course, that kids can't really do. Yeah, see, everyone's looking up the recipes, so everyone's hungry now.
Yeah,
Um,
they're fantastic, and I think it was like, I know the price, people get tired of me talking about that, but so it was like $9 for something like that with the fries, and you could make two meals out of it if you want to. But
oh, easily, easily.
yeah,
Speaking of good food and all that, have you been to Rome?
no, I've never been to Italy. I'd like to go. That's kind of next on the list is Italy, possibly
Oh,
Greece. Have you?
yeah. Yes, I had the pleasure of going to Rome on a weekend trip, actually. I was lucky that my folks lived in France. We lived in France for a few years, and so we went over there at Christmas time. I would highly recommend going to Rome, especially at least once. I don't know if I want to return because, oh my gosh, the crowds and everything. And this was around Christmas time,
Hmm.
but I did get to go see the Sistine Chapel, which everyone has to see at least once in their life. Pictures do not do it justice at all. And the works of Raphael, the things in the Vatican Museum. I got to see the Pope. That was at the time Pope John Paul II. So that was a
Oh, you
blast.
got to
Went to
see him.
mass with him. Oh yeah, yeah. He
That's
did a
cool.
mass. It was a New Year's Day mass, the Mary Mother of God, and so we were able to go in and go to Sunday mass with the Pope, who's so that was pretty special. But as I said,
Yeah,
a one-time deal because people say, "Oh, would you ever wanna go back and do all that?" I'm like, "No, I'm too old and cranky to deal with those kind of crowds and everything," and I've heard that in the summer, it's a nightmare, but to go once, everyone has to go see the Sistine Chapel and the Colosseum, got to see the Colosseum, which, oh my gosh,
I need
was
to see that.
unbelievable. Oh, I mean, it you think you know it, you know? You think, "Oh, well, I've seen it on TV and all that," but no, nothing until you're actually there and you just realize how unbelievably oops, did I press a button? I don't know what I did. How unbelievably huge it is. There we go. And, we went to Assisi, a few other places like that, but, my relatives have also been to Florence and Sicily to see the art. You just gotta go see the art. So in the vineyards, maybe go get some real good Chianti.
Yeah, and well, I've heard the whole like Rome you need to see, but also northern Italy is supposed to be
Mhm,
beautiful as well. Florence, I've heard is something you kind of shouldn't miss if you're in the area.
mhm.
Um,
Yeah, the less touristy places and I know it sounds so snooty when people say that, but there's something to be said about not going to the touristy places, if for no other reason that they're usually packed. I think that would be really nice to get stay in a villa or get an Airbnb or something and stay in a real place. Oh, I was thinking that too, Nosferatu, some Chianti and fava beans. Yes, a nice Chianti. Oh, Copa is biased. Let's face the fact Italy is home to the greatest civilization of all time.
oh God, yeah, don't listen to
Yeah.
him.
Was the Pope wearing red shoes? Actually, I'm not sure. That was when the Holy Father, when he was getting a little old, so I didn't see his shoes. Sorry about that. I went to fight Dax in the Coliseum, Nosferatu. Well, that sounds like a
Oh,
challenge.
I'll take that challenge, Nos.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's legal anymore, but
It
um,
should be though. We can all agree
yeah.
it
Wouldn't
probably
that
should
be
be.
awesome if we could just solve our problems with that? Just have, you know, people fight to the death in the Coliseum instead of acting like idiots.
Well, isn't it that's memes this thing, right? Means of destruction.
Hmm.
His whole thing is to bring back dueling.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, it'd solve, problems with the criminal justice system. Hello, Taylor Swift,
Yeah,
and hello, Angel One, yeah.
it
Mhm,
would. I got to This is another photo. This is from this La Sagrada Familia, which is that it's the giant cathedral still being built It's Antoni Gaudi
Mhm.
designed it. It's pretty. It's a pretty fantastic thing to see. So if you're in Barcelona, that's definitely something to go look at. Um,
Oh.
yeah,
Oh gosh, just unleash some lions and have some good old-fashioned family fun.
why not? What's up, Ancient Wood? Oh,
Oh
hold
dear.
on, hold on. So this is one that I sent. Showing a photo here of one of the sandwiches I did. I actually ate. This was my photo,
Ooh. Is that
and this is
sausage?
yes,
Okay, go ahead.
sausage. Three different kinds of sausage on this one. Lots of sausage.
Oh,
And
yum.
then this is one my wife made. We got home.
Ooh,
You can make
flan?
them at home.
Oh my
That's the
gosh.
same kind of sandwich, just not as good of a shot.
Ah, okay. I
Yeah,
was thinking it was something else. Oh my gosh.
they're
That
good.
food looks so good.
But yeah, it's I loved Portugal. Southern. I liked a lot of Spain. Went to Granada. Um, and it was like I didn't really understand the whole the Moors and the influence of the Muslim influence in that area because they
Mhm.
occupied it for like 700 years.
Yeah.
Not a small period of time, and you can really see it when you're there. The mosques. What happened when well, you probably know all of this stuff is the Reconquista. They when they would come and they would take over a mosque, they would leave a lot of it in place, but then put a cathedral in the middle of it. So you can go to these giant mosques, and in the middle there's a cathedral, and I think that's it's just a cool way to reuse these spaces and use what's already been there. So
Well, talk about repurposing. I had
yeah,
but that just sounds that would be so incredibly cool to see. Well, at least they didn't destroy it. A lot of times people they would destroy these things and I'm like, "No, posterity needs it. It belongs in
yeah,
a museum at least."
yeah, and they these are museums, a lot of them, and they have basically
Mhm,
because that you have there's relics there, actual relics, and they're locked off, but you can see the areas where they're in with their special altars and a tribute to
mhm.
whatever saint it is. And I don't know my saints, so um, but it was just a bunch of cool stuff to look at when I was there.
Oh, yeah, reliquaries. Yeah, I actually did a Catholic explaining on
Oh,
relics. It's fascinating. A lot of people don't get it, and I understand if you don't get it, but once you understand it's like living archaeology with religion, if that makes sense. Uh, some of the people go see Napoleon's tomb all the time, so it's even though he was very small, but I digress. But yeah, and the beauty that they have surrounding such things, and including the architecture from the first conquista. There's a lot of history that went on for thousands of years or that we don't even know about here in America. What is it? We're coming up on 250 years. We're babies. We're nothing
yep.
compared with. And I think that that's one thing that you do also get from travel. Uh, it's I see what you're saying, salty traveling. I don't know. I forget what your question was. I think it was was it a smart ass question? It was up here. What was it? I forget. Oh, ask ZAXX when he's finally going to drive the Zamboni for the Jets. I'm not sure I know what that means.
Zamboni is what cleans the ice at hockey games. I
Oh,
wish I could drive a Zamboni. Um,
ah,
so
okay.
I got some more stuff here I can show if you
Oh,
want.
sure. Help
So
yourself. Yeah, absolutely.
this is this place is called La Mesquita. It's the what is it here? It's the Mosque Cathedral of Cordoba in Spain.
Ooh.
And so this is a like I this is a great amazing tour to see this place. You can see where
Oh.
like the bars, that's the reliquary areas that are blocked off. But what's amazing about this specific place is that it was the world's largest outdoor mosque, and it's now a cathedral. But the pillars here, when you walk into the building, the pillars are all from different periods. And so as it was built up, so there's actually Roman pillars, then there's Visigoth pillars, and then there's more current day. There's the Muslim style of the pillars they built, and they're all different. And there's like it's like a history tour as you're walking through this enormous building.
Oh,
and this is
yeah.
the cathedral in the middle of it here. So
Oh
that's
my
in the middle of a
gosh.
mosque.
Unbelievable.
And this
Gosh,
is
the
from
beauty of it. You see, and
the
that's the
outside.
great tragedy that what's happening in France where they're burning down a lot of these like what happened to Notre Dame, and they don't realize that there's literally things in there that don't even exist anymore, like the wood and the kind and the architecture and the things, and this is a great example.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, look how beautiful that is.
It's unbelievable when you're in there. Like it really
Yeah.
it's I can say that like seeing the cathedrals in Europe really literally blew my mind because
Mhm.
to think of how old some of them were. Like some of them from the year I think 900 that I saw. And for me it's amazing. So to think about how people at that time would see a space like that and how would they process like how like I don't know how if we could even build that now. Um
No.
because these are enormous and you feel it and you feel the age and the presence in there. It's different than anywhere else. It
Mhm.
was a very cool experience. And
Yeah.
you can also walk into any cathedral there because they're open, and so they have to be open as part of it. And in Portugal, um, what they do is every the towns were built around the churches, uh, very Catholic in Portugal, and so the churches are landmarks, and everything kind of builds around that. And people also gather at the churches to then go
Mhm.
out and have an evening. They meet there. Um, so many cool traditions and so much history. And you can just walk in and look at all of it if you want to, and be respectful, of course. But
Yes, and the cathedral in Strasbourg, that's where we lived, that when you talked about it being, like, the center of activity, even today, like, you'd have, like, the Christmas market, the markets that will be there around and there's nothing more special than Sunday morning when the cathedral bells start to ring, calling everyone to mass, and you realize they were doing that since the 1200s, and back in the day, they didn't have clocks telling them when to go. It's like, "Okay, we
no,
know it's Sunday, okay, there's the bells, okay," then everyone would head in and go in and to realize that you're worshiping and in the same way you're worshiping the way they did for hundreds of years. And some of took 200 years to even make them. That was the dedication that they had to these.
they're
Oh,
otherworldly for sure.
yes. See what happens when your society is based on alcohol, says Copex Machina. Look how awesome this looks. Some truth to that, some truth, because it was safer to drink alcohol than water back then.
Yes, yeah, it was. Um, this is in now I'm just showing pictures to people, but um, this is in Portugal. This is in Coimbra. This is the library that Harry Potter um inspired Harry Potter.
Ooh.
They don't let you touch
Gosh.
anything there really, so they're very strict on that now.
Mhm.
But actually, the students at the college there, they they wear the Harry Potter like that's where the style of the uniforms are from Hogwarts. As from the actual students. I'll see if I can find that. Oh yeah, here we go.
Oh, wow.
Easy enough to find. This
Yeah, you
isn't
see,
my
and
photo,
that's
but
oh, and then the beauty of books and the beauty of libraries. We've been talking a lot about physical media.
mhm.
People are talking about DVDs and stuff, but nothing beats an old book. Oh my gosh, look at that.
Yeah, this is their school uniform. It's pretty crazy. Um,
That's
I,
wild.
and with the first night there, I didn't realize this stuff, and so I thought it was like a. I knew the university was like the library was that Hogwarts, but like I thought people were like cosplaying like for
Oh.
Harry Potter. I didn't get that it was what they actually wear to school.
Mhm.
And so they were out. We were out there the first night, and there's all these kids walking around in these Harry Potter outfits. And I thought, like, this would be. Is there a convention here? And then finally, someone told me, no, this is just what we have to wear to school. So she stole the idea from this stuff, capes and everything.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. Well, yeah, they still keep up a lot of those traditions as we're seeing right here. Oh my gosh. And, wearing robes like that, that was like a huge thing. The idea that if you were at a university, you were a scholar and you were supposed to show it with your clothing. Look at that.
Yeah, and so I have a cool story actually from there. and it involves the churches. And there's a tradition I didn't know about till I was there, but they have this event in the first 10 days of school, um, there when the college is open, and there's events every day. But one of them is all the, well, as many boys as I guess could get together would, they all meet at one church, and the girls meet at a different church, and then they walk through the town shouting these like um I guess they're like mantras or whatever. I can't, it's in Portuguese, I don't know what they're saying, but they're all shouting, and you can hear them, and they try to find each other with like using these chants,
Oh,
and then wherever they meet, they have a big party.
that is so cool. Kind of like Marco Polo, but a
Yes.
lot
Yeah.
fancier.
Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty cool. And they got super hammered, but it was fun to watch.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and there's a lot of jokes about the houses here in the chat. I don't know if this particular one does, but many do actually have houses like that. I know in England that like their schools, they'll have like 4 or 5 different houses and they get sorted and that's where they all live and or even ones that aren't necessarily boarding schools, they'll do that. But that is incredibly cool. And were they posing for you here? I mean,
No,
or is it
that's not my
not your
photo. No,
picture?
I found that one. No.
Okay.
I do have some, but they're mostly at night. And
Oh,
and then I got some video of them chanting and all that.
oh,
Um,
cool. Oh,
yeah,
look at that library.
isn't that amazing?
Oh my gosh. The aesthetics. Yeah, I'm trying to recreate that in my in my house. I'm trying since I had to rebuild everything, but nothing this fancy, obviously. But oh, you see, they cared about things, and I think that when things were less disposable like this, there was also more respect.
Yes.
Oh,
And that's physical media too. That it does, that's something that you own that, and it's real, and then so you're more likely to respect that, I think, too.
mhm. Yeah.
And and sort of enjoy it. And these books are, obviously special in this place,
Oh,
but
for
it,
sure.
yeah, it's a pretty, I recommend Portugal. That's probably my favorite destination so far.
Oh, I'm definitely going to be going over there. I have a few things left on my list of traveling what I'll hopefully be able to do, and this is certainly one of them. Oh my gosh. And yeah, forgive me when I asked about did they post for it because I also know
Oh
that
no.
many times they're really cool for doing that. They don't mind tourists. Many people don't. They're like, "Sure, take my picture." The people are probably used to it because I think it's something to be proud of. Oh my gosh, these people, y'all trying to get me to lose my channel, really?
What?
But no, they're look what they're talking about in there. I don't
Oh,
think that's too bad. I don't think it's too bad because actually, it's
yeah. You
it's
won't lose your
a
channel for that.
yeah, I know. It's a bit of an exaggeration, but I'm just like, "Damn." But technically, that's not the real word, and it's salty. I
Mm.
was talking about wine, don't blame me. Things got out of control. Wow. So, is there anywhere else that you've been to that you'd like to share particularly?
Well, Australia was a sort of a dream trip for me. That was the one that that was my number one place to go see.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it was, the weather there was fantastic. It was very, very hot. People there were nice. It was we drove from Sydney to Brisbane and stopped along the way, and I was there for 3 weeks, and stayed at like different places because we didn't really have money,
Mhm.
um, so we could just fly for cheap. But actually living there was a different deal, so we had to be careful. We stayed at some hostels and met some cool people, and saw some amazing beaches. The whole that coast, the Pacific coast of Australia, is all beaches,
Mm.
and lots of
Yep.
lots of boobs. So I appreciated the boobs. Thank you very much for that,
You see any
Australia.
monsters, 8-foot spiders, sharks?
Did not see anything that was going to kill me. Nothing.
Oh,
No,
wow.
no. I saw koalas and kangaroos everywhere.
Yeah. Hey,
Uh,
kangaroos are vicious. I've seen some
mhm.
videos with them. They're crazy.
They are, yeah, they are, and they're everywhere there. Like at least where we were, they're just. It's like deer here,
Mhm.
almost. Like there's roadkill that's like kangaroos.
Oh, wow.
Not,
Oh,
yeah,
poor
kind of, but that was I wanted to see that place, and that was a great trip. We also did, this was not like a not a highlight, but I went to Cincinnati.
Oh,
So I'm a Bengals fan, so I got to go there in 2001 to go see a game, and we got lost because we didn't have any money, so we actually took transit bus everywhere there, which is also, I guess, not a thing that white people do there. We were the only white people on any bus, and I'm not used to the different like the racial separation because we don't
ah,
have that up here as much. But there it was like very clear, and we were getting like, I got what I was told after was a ghetto pass because we got lost trying to find our hotel and went to a White Castle, and the entire half of the place was just full of these guys who were probably in a charitable organization. They were, they were wearing matching clothing, and the people who worked there wouldn't talk to us, so they just ignored us, which was kind of like it was a weird experience. And then one of these guys comes over from this organization, and he's like, "What are you guys doing here?" And we said like, "Well, we're lost. We're from Canada." And he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, you should probably leave. And um, here's how you get to your hotel. Have a good trip, but like you don't want to hang out here for too much longer." And so we got a pass.
wow.
Yeah, it was really different. I only ever seen that on TV, like the separation like that. It was crazy. It was, um, yeah.
Yeah. No, I've experienced I used to live up in Indiana and up around Chicago, and they weren't even mean about it, but they were because they would know, like, if you wandered into the wrong territory, you just weren't supposed to be there, and they would just very gently say, "Yeah,
Uh,
it will help you, but
IGP. Yes, I did
you
tell
yeah,
him we were Canadian. We were like, I don't know. I was kind of a. I guess we were not very savvy. I didn't know that nothing bad happened as a result, so we got away with it. But I guess we stuck out so much that uh, people
they knew you were
never.
innocent. You weren't
Yeah,
trying to play the games."
we also had no money, so they if you want to rob us, good luck. Um,
Yeah,
we were looking for a Days Inn somewhere in Cincinnati.
yeah.
The Bengals are amazing, Copa. So suck it.
Yeah, everyone's knocking the Bengals, I guess. I have a friend that's a fan of the Bengals, so I'm team Bengals for this purpose of this conversation. I'm
Thank
not
you.
really into American football. I like soccer, but I guess back in the day when I lived in Indiana, the Colts, I guess, was my
Hmm.
team, but I don't know. It's a different kind of religion here, especially in Texas. They're really into their football, especially the high school football and the college football. It's serious.
Friday Night Lights, right?
Yeah. Well, dang it, that sounds pretty amazing. I hope to make it to Australia. Like
That
I
was
said, it
really
just
cool.
yeah,
It's it's the trip though. The travel there is a bit brutal. We got stuck in Hawaii, which is like if you can get stuck somewhere, that's a good place to get stuck. Uh,
mm,
Loved Hawaii more than I thought that I would. Um,
mhm,
been to L.A. and New York, Boston. Those were great trips too.
mhm.
Uh, just the more like y- I really want to go to Italy. That's Italy and Greece, just to see the
Ah,
history.
yeah. I think that's definitely something you definitely do see once, and of course, I'm hoping that some of the unrest, etcetera, won't be affecting tourist travel, though I don't know what's going on. Because last summer, I know in Paris, they were having some issues, so, there was some travel advisories, but I think if you went, say, to Normandy that's another place I think everyone should go to is to see the beaches at Normandy and really have that experience and
Yes, I would love
see
to do that too.
see the World War II stuff, and I just
You
put
live,
up a few I'm sorry, go ahead.
I see, and you lived in France. You said
Yeah, and so actually I do have oh, wait, is this France? Oh, no, this is Iceland. This is a picture of Reykjavik from the top of a
cool.
church, speaking of which, a church that's in the middle of town, so that's a place I've been to. I do have there we go, that was from France. You can see it's an older picture. This is actually in the Loire Valley. Eventually, I'm gonna do a Teresa's Travels on Strasbourg, where we were. That was kind of over in the Germanish kinda area, the Alsatian area. But, I mean, France is also not just Paris. This is the Loire Valley outside of Paris and one of their, castles, I mean, chateaus. Look at that. I
That's
You can
amazing.
go underneath it. Just so beautiful. and of course, they're all museums now. And I would recommend going to Iceland when they're not having a volcanic eruption. My favorite spa, it keeps getting
Uh,
blown up. The Blue Lagoon was right outside of Reykjavik, and they keep having to close down because like, well, lava's everywhere. So I don't know.
yeah,
Like
lava's a
keep
small problem.
yeah. But that's a problem when you kind of your whole island is made of a volcano or I forget what the name of it is. Some of it's like 100,000-year-old stuff, but yeah, but I would recommend Iceland. Iceland's a good place to get to because if you go, especially in the winter time, it's not as expensive to because a lot of the outdoorsy activities you can do are not available. So they really want to get the tourists over there staying in their hotels, and they'll have like Northern Lights things you can do. Oh, and then of course my personal favorite. I just threw in a random Irish
Oh,
picture. Oh, hello,
uh,
Jenna Banana. Yeah, this
yeah,
is I mean, you see, that's the other thing. You can get over there and these things, they're like 1,000 years old and you can
yeah.
still climb in them. They're still intact. This is Trim Castle, and you can see the outside where the outside wall, the defensive wall used to be, and that was the water around it and the whole town built. So Ireland's another beautiful place. And I don't think you've been to Ireland either, have you?
No, I'd like to go there too. My family is half Irish, so
Oh, nice.
there's always that. So we would want to go. And my mom wants to go. She's been there, but she wants to go back again. So we may go with her. Um, but I'd love to see it and the just to see a castle, these castles, and I don't know what it's like in Ireland, but the ones that I was so surprised by how little people cared about these amazing buildings. Like, you just there's nobody like it's just like they take it for granted, I guess.
Mhm.
And there's so much history just right over there, and no one's even looking at it.
Yeah.
It
Well,
and
because
in
yeah, it's
Spain
just
especially.
normal.
Yeah, it's every day.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we go over and we're all acting like idiots, like, oh my gosh, look at that." And they're like, "Yeah, yeah." But this is just in the middle of town, and if you don't know better, you think, though, that's what's in the middle of everyone's town.
Right?
And this was a Norman style one, so this was before um, the what do you call it? Oh, frack. I used to know all the different architectures and things, but yeah, it was definitely where they were more vertical and the like. So
Mm,
this is one that you don't hear of too often. A lot of people like to talk about Blarney Castle, but so that's of course my personal favorite, and that's where I travel the most. And I'll likely probably be going to Ireland very soon. I went
lovely.
to do actually a course of the Irish harp. Actually, there's a place and that they have a 2-week more immersive music thing, and then I can get it written down for professional development. Oh,
Oh.
these Irish castle so I yeah, I always try to find a way, and when I went to Iceland, I used it for professional development for the Viking for history and geography because I'm certified in those too, and so I was
Mhm.
like, "Yeah, I went to this Viking museum and I saw these Viking settlements." Just happened to do that. So it's if you can find a way to monetize your travel, do it,
Ah,
especially if you have teaching requirements. Please don't punch anyone.
mm.
Gianna's family Scotland isn't a family has a castle in Scotland. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and you can even rent out some of these castles. They fix them up a bit and spend the night in them. I mean, it's just so much fun.
I'd love to go do that. Yeah, in a castle. Spend the night.
Yeah.
Um, it's there's in Portugal, the Roman ruins I saw, people who live in the area were annoyed by the fact that they have an old city wall underneath where they're
Oh.
trying to build their homes. And the wall's not even because it was, taken apart in different stages. And so it's kind of like this. And so they can't get their houses level, and they're annoyed about this. Like, and if it was me, I'd be in my backyard with a shovel checking out this wall. But they just don't like it. It's a gets in the way of them having, a level house when they're building
Mm.
it there. And they're building on top of this history. And they're annoyed by it. It's kind of funny.
Oh. Oh, yeah, I know, and you're like, "Don't do it." Okay, I got
Yeah,
it, Bono. Why did I think Bono? Never mind. Well, Bono, he is a bono. A
here's a bone.
bonehead, yeah. Well, I think I've said this before in one of my Irish things that luckily, because of the superstitions that they used to have and many times still do, they don't disturb a lot of the history because they have beliefs about them that, bad luck or the fairies will be mad at you. So, but yeah, I know it's like you just don't understand until you don't have that kind of history. You just don't get it, and I guess I understand that because they probably think we're idiots about a lot of things that we have. This stu Janice says, "The stupid city under us is so annoying." I know all the archaeologists are going, "No." Well, dang it, that's how they found Richard the Third's body was it was in a car park in England,
Yeah.
and it was like, "Wow, we found the king." And
Oh,
oh gosh, I love English history as well. Christine Hurt, I've heard as long as you avoid certain risque groups, not everyone is diff. It can be so fun even if you don't get to meet one of the oh wait, whoops, maybe I missed context there. Yeah, a lot of comments go by. If I'm missing anyone, I apologize. Oh, the Star Trek cruise. Okay. Doing pics and vid when I do. Oh, excellent. And yeah, these things are great. My fantasy is one day we're all just going to meet up in Dublin, and we'll just
yeah.
do Dublin, and I don't know, go over to Iceland, and I don't know. I'll run a tour group based on the YouTubers. We shall see.
It's not a
Oh,
bad idea though. I'd love to do something like that to meet up with people too. At all.
yeah,
Done mini meetups in Winnipeg,
yeah.
both of us that live here. This is cool. This is in Sintra in Portugal. It's a Templar initiation well. They call it the inverted. It's also called an inverted tower because it's built like a
Dude.
tower but into the ground. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Oh
Uh,
my gosh, man.
yeah, and so it was used by the Templars to. The idea is that of course back then there was no lights, so you only got the light that you could see coming in directly to the well, and the outside is a bit. It looks like you're walking into a boulder, and that's how it's protected. So it's not as obvious as you think it would be when you're just
Hmm.
walking through the area because the way they tried to hide it. And when you get to the bottom of it, um, there's a whole bunch of caverns that go off of it, and some of them are man-made or man-expanded, but some of them are natural caverns, and some of them are blocked off now. But the idea is that you go down there, and depending on how you end up leaving, and because it's dark, there's nothing, you can't see anything down there. It's that sets your path and your rebirth as a Templar, and then whatever entrance you or exit you leave through says something about your personality, is what they say.
Oh my gosh, that is so incredibly cool.
Yeah, it was one of the places I had to see. I targeted that one because um, and it's as amazing as it looks, and there's so much put into like that in a place like this, which is just now kind of ignored. But imagine building this.
Yeah.
It's 9 levels straight down.
Oh, oh my gosh, I'd never even heard of this. This is a disgrace. Everyone should go there. I wanna go there. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
This is
Makes sense, 9 levels 'cause what 9 levels, that's the significant numbers, 9 choir of angels, 3 times 3, the perfect oh, see, these people knew their crap
they did.
before the internet. Yeah, Jana didn't banana, I definitely wanna go there. Hell yes.
There, look at this guy. Uh,
Look at you there in there, oh my gosh.
Yeah, out there in my
That's so
tragically hip
cool.
shirt. But yeah, it's you can see it's much darker than you think when you're going down into the bottom
Mhm,
area, and I got into I broke the rules when
uh-oh.
I was there. I have a tendency like when I travel or explore stuff, I want to try to like do something different. So I I would get in trouble, but I'm an adult now, so people don't yell at me for it.
Mhm,
But I broke off the main area and I went through this. You're not. It's closed off to the public, and
mhm.
it's a half finished version of this. It's called the the unfinished well, and they were building another one, and the people who were building it never got to finish it. But that was cool because like it really was just me in there, and there's an exit at the top you could go through, but I didn't. I went back through the tunnels again, but I got a cool video of it actually, because you're looking straight up, and all you just see is the canopy of trees above the secondary well. It's a really cool place to see, and you can go off the beaten path fairly easily. Like it's not like it wasn't caged off or anything, but
Yeah.
just to explore these areas was a great experience.
Oh my gosh, that would be so cool. And it's like and you it's the closest we can get to time traveling, in my opinion. It
Yeah,
it's like you are literally touching the past,
yeah,
and oh my gosh, I wanna know
yeah,
more about that, oh, for sure. Oh my gosh, yeah, as Janice says, that sounds so peaceful, sounds almost spiritual what you're describing. Holy crud.
yeah. Sintra's amazing. Well, there's like the painted palace is also there, so we saw that. Um, and there's also an old I think it's called the Muslim castle that you it's when the Moors were occupying there, and it's just this giant, just a castle on a hill, and
Mhm,
like it takes a whole day to get there, so we didn't go, but we could just see it from the painted palace. Um,
hmm.
yeah, definitely
Oh,
recommend checking that stuff out, and no one talks about any of it.
no, no, I mean and that's the thing about if you ever I'm saying to generally everyone listening, if you ever get your butts over there, try to find some sort of local kind of tour or someone or do your real research because you can pass by gems like this and not even know how close you came to seeing it.
Yeah.
Oh, the older I'm not sure. Okay, I think they're being that's where the oh for you're terrible. You guys are terrible people. You're horrible.
Oh, what are they saying?
It's like, "That's where the cripples were banished and
Oh,
malnourished, so peaceful." It's like, "No, it was a Knights Templar, you
yeah.
irreverent person, you.
How dare you?
How dare you?" I need that little meme there. Alright, well, before we go into the Rule 7, is there
Mhm.
anything else that you would like to share or say before we do so?
I don't think so.
Okay,
Mm.
so just didn't know if you
Um,
had any
I do have one more photo here from that well. That's pretty cool.
okay,
So
yeah. You guys are terrible. I'm not gonna highlight any more of these. No, it's
yes,
where the Templars Templared.
exactly. Okay, so this is the look. This is looking up um,
Ooh.
from the bottom of the well. If I could find my tabs now, I've lost the plot, Teresa.
Huh, okay. When you said looking up from the bottom of the well, for some reason I think of that creepy kid from The Ring.
Oh yes, well, yeah, it does. It does look kind of like that there.
Um, oh, what'd I do? Oh, I did oh, press the wrong button. Here we go. Ooh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Oh gosh, and imagine, you didn't have any electricity, nothing. You just had, like, torches or
Yep.
candles to light when this wasn't coming down. Yeah, Janice like, "Wow, it's like a professional photograph." Hell
They
yes.
they did there's a guy there also who was super wealthy. He built Dante's Inferno, the different levels of hell and heaven. He built like representations of them all. Like just the
Ooh.
stuff that people made and spent their money on, time on. Unreal there.
Oh,
Anyway,
that is so cool.
yeah.
Well, hell yes, hell yes. Well, I'll tell you what, go ahead and, go there, everybody. And if not, even if you can't maybe get over to a place like Europe or Portugal or Australia, find somewhere to travel. I found that sometimes even looking locally, you could be sitting metaphorically or literally near great history that you just haven't even noticed. Try to find some local museums and the like, because there is so much richness even in the culture, I'm sure, wherever you're living. Janice says, question, were the other people tourist respectful? Oh yeah.
Uh, mm, I would say so, yeah, for the most part. I didn't notice anything that was, and no one was damaging anything. And um, one of the things that was cool, you sort of touched on this, but it's like the history of it. In Portugal, I asked some of the tour guides, like, because especially I noticed it in Porto, all of this, like, there's old fishermen housing, like on this, like on the canals in Porto. It's like it would be super expensive real estate because it's like tourist central. It's beautiful properties, and they're empty, and they're from this 1600s, 1700s. They're very old, built with stone. And I asked, like how come you just leave them there? Like, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, like this, wouldn't you want to tear that down and put something else there now because it's just empty, kind of a waste of space? Like, no, that's our history. People live there, so we don't we just leave it. Like, they acted like I was an idiot for even thinking about doing that.
Mm, yeah. Well, but no, but that's definitely something to take home.
Hmm.
Be reminded of. My gosh, that's such a cool stuff. Oh, wait, Christian Hart, I parted with Warrant in Temple, Arizona. Okay. I did go from Iowa to Phoenix on a train. That was fun, but way back in the old days before I had a cell phone. Ah, okay, yeah. Back in the primitive days. Well, we are going to go ahead and move into our pub game, the roll 7,
Let's do
and
it.
I encourage everyone in the chat to go ahead and participate as much as you would like. I have a D20, and you can be as honest or not honest as you wish. No pressure at all.
Ooh.
Okay. What fictional place would you most like to go to and why?
Mm, Middle Earth.
Middle Earth. Yeah.
I know that's nerdy, but and that's an obvious answer, but that's probably the one. Yeah.
I,
Why?
it's been one.
Because I'd, I'd love to live there.
Yeah. In certain places. You want to live maybe in Hobbiton, not Mordor. Oh, the
Probably not
orcs.
Mordor, no, unless I was in charge. Then it'd be not so bad.
There you go. You can be Sauron.
Mhm.
Everything is my size in the jar, says Jenna Banana. Zach is going to indoor instead. Oh my goodness.
Andor, get out of here, Copa.
Yeah. Middle Earth is the only correct answer. Yeah, a lot of
Yes,
people
thank you,
choose Middle Earth
Salty.
with good reason. Of course, I'd love to live if I was in Middle Earth, I would love to be in Gondor. I think Gondor is pretty badass too.
Y- You have a thing for Faramir, so maybe you could bump into him.
Yeah, exactly. And since, Eowyn would have maybe passed away from an illness and he'll be lonely, so he needs me. So, because I don't want to steal someone else's husband.
Let's
That's
go
not
full
right
fan
either.
fiction, Teresa.
There we go. Gosh. Well, yeah, isn't that what fan fiction is a lot? Self-inserts. Oh dear. Oh, what is your favorite TV show and why?
Oh, do you mean like currently or ever?
It could be currently or could be ever, whatever you wish.
Well, currently it's The Bear. Um, I, I love that show. It's almost perfect, and season 2 is better than season 1. So, if anyone hasn't watched it, yeah, there you go, Janice. She gets it. The Bear, and I've been pushing that series on people to get them to watch it because it tells such a great story, very simple, um, and it's every episode is kind of special after you've watched it, and you could rewatch it again and again. It's about a diner in Chicago and this very famous chef who's played by Jeremy Allen White. Is that his name? I think it is. He was in Shameless, and he was just in the Iron Claw film, and he inherits this diner that was his older brother's, and he's a famous Michelin star chef, but now he owns this diner, and he's trying to save it, and it's about him and the people that work there and bringing in his experience with theirs, and it does this incredible job of fleshing out these individual characters in season two without ever telling you anything. It's all show, and they trust their audience to pick up on these things, and it's a great show to binge. I think it's on Hulu. Up here, it's on Disney Plus. But
Mhm,
yeah, highly recommend that. And I just finished Blue Eye Samurai, and that show also that was something I got pushed onto me, and thankfully
mhm.
they did because it's outstanding.
Hmm. I
Yeah,
haven't heard about the bear. I don't know why I haven't, but that definitely sounds like something I would wanna look into. That sounds really good.
you would love it. You would love it for real. Anyone, if you haven't watched it, go watch The Bear. It's a short watch. It's not like it's not a big investment of time. The episodes are like 20-30 minutes long, and
Mm.
yeah, just amazing character work that they've done, and you really by the end you're not manipulated, but you do care about these characters. Yeah, so Copa, yeah, we need the review. Get it done.
Yeah. He says
The
he's
Bear
gonna
rules.
cut the out of you. He's gonna steal it. No. Okay.
It's watch it. Trust me, this is the one. I guarantee you'll like this show.
Okay, well, I will look into that actually because I'm always looking for good things. There's actually good new material right now. I just think that maybe people aren't searching for it. If you, there's been some really, really, really good TV shows that have come out lately, especially with the streaming, and even some good comics and that I've been enjoying a lot as well. So hear him, and we will see. Now, if he's a big liar, then we will hate you
Uh,
forever.
no,
Yeah.
that I promise you will like The Bear.
Okay, I'll take you up on it. Oh, uh-oh, great. You knew how to get me, Copa. Catholic imagery. Okay, well, there you are. Why would you oh, sorry, what would you do if you were the only human on Earth?
My first thoughts are dirty always, so I'm gonna skip those for you, Teresa. Um, if I was the only person on the earth,
Mhm.
mm, skinny dip.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no one would care, would they?
Nobody could stop me. I guess. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't want to live in a world with no people. So yeah.
All right. Well, that's what we'll do.
What about you?
What I do if I was the only human on Earth?
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah, that would be really sad. I guess I would read books. I don't know. And hopefully not lose my prescription like on the Twilight Zone. Is that I
That
do.
would
Oh
be a
dear.
problem.
Is that a picture you want me to share here?
Yeah, it's just a poster for the bear.
Oh, there we
Give
are.
people idea.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, I just read frankly, I'm not even entirely certain my life would be much different if I did. Oh dear, that sounds so terrible. It's like
I mean,
I would probably get lonely after a while, but I would adopt all the dogs. Maybe the dogs would need help, so I'd just feed all the dogs and the cats, and the rest while you're on your own.
i- if you think about it, that would be horrific because all these animals would be dropping left and right because they're used to being taken care of by us. That would
Oh,
otherwise be fine. Cats obviously would be fine, but
yeah. Well, my cats would not survive at all. Salty Traveling Sea says I'd steal a fighter jet and go for a last fast ride.
hmm.
Oh,
I
though
mean,
I
yeah,
wouldn't.
there's no reason to. Yeah, I don't know how long I'd want to last in a place like that. Plus, you're worried about.
Yeah,
Think about it, like food.
we're social creatures. I think that it would not be actually a good situation to be in. I wouldn't be able to fly because I don't know how to fly, so I guess I couldn't even do that. Oh my goodness. If you didn't have to sleep, what would you do with the extra time? Hmm,
Mm, you didn't have to
yeah, that's
sleep.
a tricky one.
I barely sleep as it is. Uh, hmm. I mean, obviously more time with family, but if they're sleeping and I'm not, um, hmm, I would probably want to learn a new language. I
Oh,
tried. Yeah, I've been to Cuba a couple times. Didn't mention that, but um, I tried to learn Spanish, and I just don't have the um, I guess the amount of time it would take for me to do that. And so I wouldn't mind learning a language or an
Mm.
instrument. I used to play guitar and piano, and I forgot how. So
Oh, I endorse that.
yeah,
Zach would have a coach a pygmy hockey league. Hey,
mm,
that would be kind of fun. Yeah, of all the
a
animals.
pygmy hockey league. Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I don't
like
sleep
the
anyway.
Puppy
Damn it.
Bowl. What are you most afraid of?
Something happened to my family.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, I would say that too for a serious one. Well, another serious one is spiders for me. That is not a joke. I do not like spiders.
Also, birds. I fucking hate. Sorry, I hate birds. I don't like any
Mm,
kind of bird. When I was growing up, we had a house that birds would get into all the time through
mm.
the vents, and so there'd be birds on my house all the time. Um, I found a dead bird on my bed. Um, there was one that stuck between window panes. It had flown in and knocked the stick out and got trapped. Like, so I don't like birds. Birds are assholes.
Oh, I know a lot of people that don't like birds. Birds
Don't
aren't
like
real,
them.
Zax. Don't worry.
And they're so like breakable that trying to chasing them around your house, you're trying to like get them out safely without hurting them, but they make it so difficult on you. And if yeah, I don't want to accidentally kill a bird either, so
Yeah.
I hated it. Hated that.
Well, and
And
some are psycho.
it gets worse because we had a crabapple tree in the front yard, and they would ferment, and so crows would get like kind of hammered off of the fermenting crab apples, and they'd fly into the window.
Oh, that's
It was just the
horrible.
worst. Yeah, it was horror. It was like a horror story for birds.
Drunken bird sounds like an that sounds like a nightmare. That could be a horror movie. That
Mhm.
could rival Hitchcock. Oh, we've already done that one. I always say when that happens, buy a lottery ticket. What is your favorite BS excuse when you're late?
When I'm late. I mean, I'm always late. I have a
A
phobia of
wizard.
being early. Um, I'm late. I mean, I
A wizard
don't.
is never late.
That's right. Yeah. Um,
Well, I guess you could say being attacked by drunk birds.
you could be attacked by
that
drunk birds.
that's a new one.
That is a good one. Yeah. Yeah. I say I'm here before AJ, so that should be fine. That's enough.
Oh dear. He must be notorious for being late then.
He is.
Oh my
He's worse
gosh.
than me. Yeah.
Is it a Canadian thing or is it a you thing?
Being late?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a me thing. Okay, like
Uh,
my growing up, this is like a short story, but my dad used to always make me be early for everything, way too early.
ah.
So like I was always like 30 minutes early for anything, and I hated it. And so now I try to be like right on time, and of course I always do late. So, and today I was late for your show. So there you go.
The talent, because the fates conspire. The computer issues, and I always find that that's when I get all the red lights. Is when I'm running late.
That's true
And
too. Yeah.
I guess that's not a BS excuse if it's true. Well, last but certainly not least, what is the most immature thing you do? I guess everything
Mm,
on the internet. That's what I'm.
pretty much.
It's
Uh, um, I mean, I do a lot of immature things on YouTube for sure. Um, hmm.
Janice says farts are funny. That is
They are
immature.
funny. They are funny. Um, I wish I had a good answer for that. I do a lot of immature stuff though.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, it used to be we would probably say video games, but now everyone,
yeah.
our generation is now. getting middle aged where playing video games is not immature anymore. It's like what mature people do.
I will, yeah, I guess what I do is I mean, I sing to my son because he doesn't like it. And because I have a horrible singing voice. And so I try to see how much of a song I can sing before he says, Daddy, no singing. So that's kind of like, I know that's going to be the result, but I find it funny. Um, he does not though. He doesn't, it's not a, no, Daddy, no singing. So that's my little thing I do with
Oh,
him.
aw. Well, that's kind of cute.
I know
Well,
it's yeah. Um, but I do video games. I stay up way too late playing video games when I
mhm.
should be sleeping. But I'm not, and so that's pretty immature, I guess. Yeah. Oh, you.
For me, oh gosh, I do well, of course, I've already said about things like video games, but I gosh darn it. That's a tricky one because I think all of us do immature things, and I would say cartoon watching, but again, these are all
Yeah.
considered acceptable now. All of the things that were childish because we're grown up. Um, probably okay. This is completely immature. Flipping people off, but like
Oh,
people I like relatives, like my sister and I will just sit and like flip each other off and then laugh. It's really stupid. It stems from an episode of Flight of the Concords where if you've ever seen that show, a bunch of New Zealand
no.
guys in New York, and they were flipping off the, the guy from the Australian embassy, and then they were just flipping each other back. So we started doing that, and so we still do it, and we laugh and laugh, and it's just really ridiculous because it's just like, why are we flipping each other off
Yeah.
and laughing? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like fun though.
Yeah.
Flight of the
Jana
Concords. Oh,
likes
Jana
Flight of the
likes it. Yeah.
Conchords, yeah. Yeah, you should watch it, I think yeah, and like I said, it's really stupid. You know
Oh,
what I'm talking about too, about the Jana, if you've watched it, so they're the same
like,
people that do what we did in shadows.
oh, I prank people at work.
Oh,
That's one thing I do that's immature. There's one guy that I like to hide drawings of cock and balls on things, and so he'll find it like partway through a day, or he's doing an interview or something like that. And we used to always get draw on his car, if it wasn't clean. So we draw like a sack and stick on his car in different places if it was dirty, and we try to see if we can get it to so that by the next day he wouldn't have noticed. So he's driving around with this thing on his car. We do stuff like that all the time. So the best one I did though was he's big into like uh, he's very very like a neat freak. So he's got to be clean, and he uses hand sanitizer all the time. And so I took his hand sanitizer and I put tuna water in it, and I found that that doesn't work because somehow that breaks down the sanitizer. It becomes like this weird goo.
oh,
And so what I did was I got another bottle of hand sanitizer, put tuna water just in the pump, and then sealed it with lotion. So it wouldn't leak into the rest of the bottle. And so he goes and to to wash his hands, and he gets like 3-4 day old tuna water all over his hands, but he can't put it to he doesn't understand. And so he goes, I think this hand sanitizer has gone bad. And he's sniffing his hands and he's confused. And my buddy
ew.
and I are cracking up laughing at him, but we never told him either. He's just like, and he tried to be quiet about it, like he was kind of embarrassed by it. Like, but
Oh,
we were just killing
no.
ourselves. So we do that stuff. Yeah. It's fun. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I I would be pissed, but,
We
yeah, they to each their own, that's oh, the poor guy, but, yeah, that is definitely an immature thing. Well, and I
mm,
don't mind pranks as long as they're harmless. Like, sometimes people, they get, like, masochistic or sadistic rather, and they'll, like it's like, "Haha, let's do a prank where someone's gonna be in a car crash or something." I'm like, "Okay, that's psychotic. There's something wrong where people go to way too far with pranks. Pranks are the best." So Flaccid Phoenix likes them. Now that's fun, says a Dago
Blasted
Outlaw.
loves
So
it.
they're on your side on this one. As long as no
It's
one
fun.
gets hurt, killed, or maimed.
He's so after that he wanders off and he comes back and he's super confused still. And my buddy starts, "Did you eat salmon or something for lunch?" And he's like, "No, why?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know. It just really smells." And we didn't tell him. I think
Oh.
we told him like maybe months later because it was too funny for him not to know what we'd done. And
Oh, the poor
we used to get him
guy.
all the time. Teresa, we were horrible to him. Actually, we still are, but I don't know. We call it mentorship.
Oh. Oh, Jenna says I shrink wrap my employees' car once. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, that's
We
like
would
dedication.
we would do complex stuff with him too. So, um,
Hmm.
but yeah, it was a nice way to kill time, and it's bonding. It's male bonding.
Hmm. Oh,
Trust
well,
me.
okay. Well, well, that is the end of our roll 7. So, thank you once again for being a guest. Can you tell everyone where we can find you?
Yeah, I am on YouTube. Channel is at ZAXX. Tomorrow night we are going to be talking 9 Central. We're going to be talking about Blue Eye Samurai and some other of Netflix's animated series, which are better than than you'd expect them to be. Um, the anime versions, because they also have Arcane, which is one of my favorite shows as well. I love Blue Eye Samurai and how they did a great job of having a strong female character that you actually can get behind. And yeah, it's fantastic. So we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Mm.
Come hang out, and then Saturday night Circle of Jerks, 11:30 Central. Don't know what channel that's going to be on, but it's usually it's on mine or Flacid's or AJ's.
Okay. Well, everyone be sure to go ahead and subscribe and ring that bell if you have not already. And you can find me here in Miss Smart Music, where I talk about what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. Got some videos upcoming, probably some musings. I'm putting together some of my thoughts. I think I'm going to talk about narcissistic injury because I think that's everyone's getting narcissistically injured. Made this up about a year ago, just haven't gotten around to it. So everyone needs to know about narcissistic injury. Also, I'll be on Nina Infinity's channel probably this Sunday talking about Reacher, and you'll find me
Oh,
occasionally on Sporking's a Sporking of Ice and Fire on Monday evenings, depending if how things go and how things shake down. I am started to finally continue reading the actual books because I have decided George R. R. Martin is not going to finish them, so there's no reason for me to wait till he makes the announcement that the next one's coming out. So I'm just
he's a
going to read
troll.
it. What'd you say?
He's a troll. He trolls us all
Oh,
the time.
oh yeah, and and it makes him a dick because I think
Mhm.
it would be funny if this was like 2014 and he was only a few years late. But he's been doing this for nearly 10 years, and I actually think that he's actually mean spirited about it. So he can just
I
feck
agree.
right off. Yeah, feck right off. So I'll just finish reading what he's written and then not care and then go, ha ha, your legacy is going to be that crappy TV show. Teresa, you're the best. Why, thank you, Jana Banana. Alrighty. So have a great day, everyone. Have a great day and be absolutely certain to get out there and travel.